What's going on, people? It's your boy Slopes Decimus, and today we're going to be reviewing, talking about Through the Darkness. Through the Darkness. I think this has been one of the newer K dramas that I've seen this year. Came out in March 2020, 2022. So this year. Yeah, it was. It reminded me of like a mixture between um, Mindhunter, which is a story about how America started their own kind of behavioral science FBI criminal investigation analysis unit, uh, and the steps they took to create that, interviewing criminals, creating the profiles for unsubs and these serial killers, psychopaths, because although people have been killing for a hell of a long time, um, it people always thought that crimes had to be done through the act of like passion or some form of motivation, and the rise of people that kill for the sake of killing because it gives them sexual release or euphoria. It was a new phenomenon, and I think it was quite interesting to watch it from that lens. So, kind of a Mindhunter mixed with the Hannibal series, because you have this behavioral analyst who gets to the point where he starts trying to think like the criminal. And I think what differentiates this profiler is that he took steps to get there. Right, it wasn't like immediately started like becoming the killer, like it happened in the Hannibal Lecter series. He started out like being a cop that, firstly, in the age where cops used to just beat the confessions out of criminals. He tried to do it through science, empirical evidence. This is the evidence we have. This proves that he did the actual crime. From there, he's recruited into this team of him and a forensic scientist, and they both go through this journey of trying to figure out how do we catch serial killers, which was I think a hell of an interesting take. And the main profiler then starts going through those stages of, let's start building a kind of profile on this person so we can catch him. Next, into, if I was a killer, what would I do? And he even starts voicing those aspects of, if it was me, this is how I would do it. And Koreans have a very cool way of storytelling where, I don't know, it's more experience rather than like a lot of visual effects. For example, the Hannibal Lecter series, the guy would be in like a whole different realm, or he would picture himself as a killer and start seeing different things. Whereas this dude would just, you could just see through how these movements and thinking and kind of actions that he's thinking like the killer, right? Starts walking the killer's path, starts reenacting the different kind of scenes of violence that would happen in these scenarios, to a point where he gets this breaking point where he just loses it, right? The pressure of talking to these criminals, psychopaths, gets to him, and boom. The cool thing about this show as well is the psychopaths, right? The serial killers. It shows that they have this level of narcissism where they think that they are above everybody else, above the law, and most of them try and do this perfect crime, right? Commit a crime that's so perfect that you won't be caught. The issue is, because they're serial killers, they have to continuously do it. And the more you do something, the more you enjoy it, the more you want to up the ante. So it always progresses into arson or breaking and entering, rather than just killing people. It also shows that these serial killers always target like people weaker than them, elderly people, women, which is kind of and it shows a different minds, even though that they form these different backgrounds, or kind of how the serial killers depict themselves. You had this one guy who was essentially considered himself smarter than everybody else. You had another guy who was deemed like the runt of society, and he wanted to prove that he was better than what people saw him as. And you had another guy who because he got away with murder once before, he thought that he could continue doing it. Yeah, so I think the ways that they depicted the serial killers was fun. The only critique I would have is kind of, well, two actually would be, they didn't show a killer that was like fully a killer that kills for killing's sake, right? Like a lot of these guys, they kind of boil down to the fact of why they do this is through their childhood. Like they were abused, they were beaten, they were mostly by their fathers or parents, and that turned them into these killers. But there are killers out there that just do it because, like psychopaths who had a good childhood and just do it because everything else is boring or uneventful or just stupid or dumb. But they did tease a second season, so they might. Well, yeah. So there's the one main killer. So the main profiler, he as a child he found a dead body of this lady that was underwater, and he in the beginning he starts like searching for that killer, but it doesn't really play out for the rest of the seasons because he's always bombarded with these new cases and trying to prove that there is a science to the behavior analysis of killers and criminals and serial killers in general, which they do by actually building it up. So I like that year by year it showed their worth, right? From them being in a basement to them actively being called on cases to them actually starting their own division. And how it was so difficult back then because there wasn't things like CCTV cameras everywhere, and when you tell people about the behavior of criminals, they'll laugh at you, kind of like it did with Mindhunters. But it's even worse in Korea because Korea was like a lot less forward in terms of criminal behavior and criminal thinking. Right? You would bring a book from America and say this is how they classify serial killers, and people would be like, "Well, that's America, right? America has a bunch of people. It's so large. It's full of Westerners. We don't have serial killers in Korea." Like, but yeah, they teased the main villain. I'll call him the one who started it all. And at the end of it, they have the scene of the main villain watching the profile on television, saying that you, sir, we will catch you, and he's in jail. So he's provoking the dude. He's in jail. He's chilling. He's minding his business. He hasn't killed in a while, and you see a profiler come on TV talking about, "We're gonna find you," and he's like, "Okay, now I'm gonna come back into the business." So I'm excited for season 2. But yeah, it was an interesting, fun kind of series. I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the acting, the storyline. Pretty dope. Look forward for the second season. And overall, this is a 9 out of 10 show. 8 out of 10 at the least, but it's a 9 out of 10 show. So yeah, let me know if you guys have watched Through the Darkness. I recommend it, and tell me what you thought about it. Peace.